Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I am Gids and it's lovely to be back making another video. Today we have a fun one. I am going to be doing a first impressions. I have the fragrance here and it is a rose fragrance, so I'm excited to do first impressions because I am a true rose lover. This is from a house which, I'll be honest, I have tried some of their fragrances but I've never really connected with the brand or any of their fragrances. They haven't really got me, personally, but I know that this house is very popular. It's loved by a lot of fragrance lovers. So I'm gonna do a first impressions. It comes from the house of Fragrance Du Bois. This is called Siberian Rose. And I love the name Siberian Rose because it sounds really interesting. And I'm wondering what kind of rose fragrance this is gonna be. When I think of Siberia, obviously we think of cold, crisp, something fresh. So I wonder if I'm gonna get all of that from this fragrance. We shall see. But of course, guys, if it's your first time stumbling across my channel, hello, welcome. I am Gids and I do fragrance content. I do a bit of vlog and fashion stuff as well, but I mainly focus on fragrance content here on this channel. So if you like that kind of thing, subscribe and of course, leave me a big thumbs up and a comment. So as I was saying, Fragrance Du Bois is an interesting house. Now, very luxurious, very expensive. From my understanding, this house has been around since about 2013. And guys, since 2013, I looked up the number of fragrances in their database. They have 47. So they have a lot of fragrances. That's a lot of fragrances that they have come out with in basically 11 years, which is quite impressive. I'll be honest, I haven't really found much from Fragrance Du Bois that I have really liked that much. I find their fragrances are pleasant, but nothing has really sort of gripped me in and made me want to pull the trigger to purchase it, but that might change with this one. We shall see. Anyway, let's talk less and let's spray some of this on the card and I will tell you my honest first impressions. So let's do it. Okay, it's coming out slowly, so I'm just doing some sprays on the card and I'll also do some on skin. Okay. Wow, okay, the first thing I'm picking up, even though this is a rose fragrance, is a very, very strong dose of jasmine. Jasmine, lots and lots of jasmine, very, very white, floral dominant, very, very sweet. This is very heavy on white florals, first of all. It's interesting, on skin, it smells a lot different to card, which is why I always believe do a mixture of skin and card because paper is a very different texture to our natural skin. Okay, this is a very, very, very sweet fragrance, by the way. I'm getting lots and lots of florals, jasmine, what smells like something like orange blossom, maybe even tuberose. It's very, 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 very floral, first of all. I can't detect the rose strongly in this fragrance, but I'm sure it's somewhere in the fragrance. It's a very interesting fragrance. It's very, very sweet, first of all. And there's something that's got a little bit of spiciness in the fragrance as well, like a little bit of spice. This is really interesting. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm getting from this fragrance. First of all, it's very sweet. It has a sweetness in the fragrance, almost like a candied, sweet, floral nature to the fragrance. A little bit of spice. You see, on skin, it's now starting to warm up a lot as well. This is quite strong. This is a very strong fragrance. I'm just gonna do a few more sprays. It's very, very strong. I will say that. And I know that with Fragrance Du Bois, they really, and this is one thing I do think that's great about the brand, even though I haven't really been that impressed with the fragrances I've smelt, they really do use high quality ingredients, and this does smell very high quality, I've got to say that first of all. So it does smell very luxurious. There is a lot of florals in this, and I just would have liked a bit more of the rose to be the dominant note leading forward, because I feel like it's more in the background, in the opening anyway. That obviously might change. It's also kind of got this syrupy sweetness in the fragrance, which I'm gonna be honest, it's a little bit slightly sickly at this moment. It's very, very sweet. And, you know, even though I say fragrances are unisex and anyone can wear what they want, I think in the traditional sense, this one for me leans quite feminine. In fact, yeah, it's a very strong, floral, sweet, slightly spiced fragrance. Now, I'm sure there is rose in this. However, there is a lot of notes that are also in there, kind of giving it lots of texture as well. There's a lot of texture in this fragrance that I will definitely give it. And it does smell very high quality, like the jasmine and the white florals. They're actually quite nice. For me, what I'm not enjoying so much is, for me, there's a bit too much sweetness in the opening of this fragrance. Like, it smells quite candied, quite sweet. And I don't like that necessarily at the moment. It's interesting, on the skin, it's not as sweet. And as it's warming up and drying down, there's a lot more warmer notes coming through. Something a bit more spicy on skin as well, and a little bit warm. I don't know about this one. This is an interesting fragrance, you guys. So I love rose. I really love rose. And it's a thing where I realized all of my favorite fragrances are very rose dominant. You know, Gris Dior, Portrait of a Lady, Chanel Paris Paris, most recently a Le Capitale from Diptyque, Rose d'Arabie. I really do love very luscious, extravagant, or even fresh rose scents as well. I mean, the one from Byredo, Rose of No Man's Land, that's more of a musky, fresh, bright rose, which I absolutely love. It's a slightly bit sweet because of the fruitiness, but it's beautiful. This is very warm. This is classy. This is definitely classy, but for me, it's a little bit too sweet. But it's interesting. There's almost like something leathery in the fragrance, or spicy and ambery and warm as it's getting a bit drier, but it's a very interesting one. There's almost a little bit of greenness in it as well. So maybe like something quite green, slightly aromatic. It's very complex. It's very complex, and I will give that to Fragrance Du Bois. I do think the ingredients are very high quality. I just find as a brand, number one, for me, there's too much choice. It's kind of how I see Xerjoff. I like the brand Xerjoff. I think they are also very high quality, but there's so much to explore with the brand. It almost hurts your head. Like, where do you start? The other thing about Fragrance Du Bois is it's a very mysterious house. So I like to always do research and try and understand, you know, when did the brand come about? Who is the founder? And there isn't a lot of information about Fragrance Du Bois. It's a French brand. They pride themselves on using very high quality ingredients. They're very luxurious. They promote that a lot in their marketing and their packaging. They do a lot of PR gifting to a lot of influencers, which is fine. But I do find there was a point where they were gifting so many fragrances to so many influencers. It was almost a little bit too much. I have tried, from the collection of their fragrances, I've tried Eau de Jaune Intense, which was okay. I didn't love it that much. I've tried Santal Complète, which is a nice sort of coconutty sandalwood type of fragrance. That was quite nice, but doesn't have good performance, unfortunately, for that price. And these fragrances are expensive, guys. So I do want performance in my fragrance when I'm spending that kind of money. But this is definitely one which is quite strong. I predict that this one is going to be a very long-lasting fragrance. Yeah, it's very, even me just smelling it like this, it's for me, it's quite strong. It's a very strong fragrance. It'd be one which I think is nice to spray a little bit on clothing, more so maybe than skin. Because on clothing, I think fragrances just sort of eventually fade nicely, or they do sort of hold on if it's quite strong fragrance, but they move nicely when you are, you know, wearing them on clothes. On skin, I think this might be a little bit cloying for me personally. I'm gonna keep playing around with this one. So far, I'm not sure if I'm loving it or how I feel. For me, it's definitely something I probably wouldn't buy. It's just too sweet for my liking personally. I would have liked something a bit more crisp, a bit more fresh. That's what I thought this was gonna be. Siberian Rose, you know, thinking of something cool and fresh and crisp. That's the kind of vibe I thought was gonna come through with this one. It's nice, it's pleasant, it's sweet. I think people probably compliment people wearing this because you smell nice. I'm sure if I smelt this on someone, I'd think, oh, that's a nice smelling fragrance. But for me, it's not something that's necessarily a love. And one thing that I'm gonna be doing this year is being very mindful of the fragrances I buy. And if I don't love a fragrance, I'm not getting it. I'm only gonna buy fragrances which I absolutely, absolutely love. So at the moment, this isn't a love. I'm gonna keep playing around with this. I'm gonna test out the longevity and we shall see. But so far, it's an okay fragrance. Probably not for me, but it was interesting to sample. And yeah, I'll definitely try and give Fragrance Du Bois fragrances more of a chance. I think always keep an open mind. Well, yeah, guys, that was the first impressions of Siberian Rose from Fragrance Du Bois. If you enjoyed this first impressions, leave me a comment down below and give me a big thumbs up. Also, what Fragrance Du Bois fragrances do you guys own and what do you think about the brand? Do share down below. Yeah, as I said, I might do a deep dive into the brand and try more of their fragrances. That's kind of what I'm gonna try to do this year, do a bit more research on brands I've not tried before and let you know. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you for watching. Do subscribe if you're not subscribed and I will see you in my next video. Take care, guys.